Enlightenment, known as Bodhi in Sanskrit and Pali, is the pinnacle of spiritual realization in Buddhism. It signifies the profound understanding of reality as it truly is and the complete liberation from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, samsara. Achieving enlightenment means transcending ignorance, avidya, craving, tanha, and attachment, thereby ending suffering, dukkha, once and for all. The concept of enlightenment is not a vague metaphysical idea but a concrete and achievable goal, demonstrated by the historical Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, who attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree over 2,500 years ago. This essay delves deeply into the nature, significance, and implications of enlightenment in Buddhism. It explores its historical origins, doctrinal foundations, practical pathways, psychological dimensions, and interpretations across major Buddhist traditions including Theravada, Mahayana, Zen, and Tibetan Buddhism. It also discusses contemporary understandings and addresses common misconceptions. Finally, the essay reflects on the relevance and attainability of enlightenment in the modern world, concluding with the transformative potential of the enlightened mind for both the individual and society. The historical context, Siddhartha Gautama and the birth of Buddhism. To understand enlightenment, one must begin with the story of Siddhartha Gautama, the man who became the Buddha. Born into royalty in Lumbini, in present-day Nepal, Siddhartha lived a life of privilege and comfort. His father shielded him from the harsh realities of life in an effort to protect him from spiritual aspirations. However, the young prince eventually encountered the four sights: an old man, a sick man, a corpse, and a wandering ascetic, which profoundly impacted him and ignited his quest for truth. Disturbed by the inevitability of aging, illness, and death, Siddhartha renounced his royal life and embarked on a spiritual journey. He studied with renowned teachers, practiced severe asceticism, and pushed his body to its limits. Yet none of these extremes brought him the understanding he sought. Eventually, he abandoned self-mortification and adopted what he later called the middle way, a path of moderation. Sitting under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, Siddhartha entered deep meditation. After a night of intense inner struggle, he finally realized the true nature of existence. He awakened to the reality of impermanence, non-self, and the cessation of suffering. At that moment, he became the Buddha, the awakened one. His experience became the foundation of all Buddhist teachings, and his enlightenment remains the model for all who seek liberation. The meaning of enlightenment, Bodhi and Nirvana. In Buddhism, enlightenment is synonymous with awakening, waking up to the true nature of reality. The word Bodhi implies a deep, intuitive understanding that penetrates through illusion. Another commonly used term is nirvana, Pali, nibbana, which literally means blowing out, like a flame extinguishing. It refers to the extinguishing of the fires of greed, hatred, and delusion, the three poisons that cause suffering. Nirvana is not a place or a state of annihilation. It is the unconditioned reality free from conceptual constructs. It is peace, liberation, and bliss, not in the sensory or emotional sense, but in the existential and spiritual sense. Enlightenment brings an end to the cycle of samsara, the endless round of rebirth driven by karma and craving. Importantly, enlightenment is not something external to be gained, but an intrinsic potential to be uncovered. The Buddha taught that all beings have the capacity for enlightenment, though most are unaware due to ignorance and attachments. The Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. The Buddha's first discourse after enlightenment, the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, outlines the Four Noble Truths, central to understanding and achieving enlightenment. The truth of suffering, dukkha, all conditioned existence is marked by dissatisfaction and suffering. The truth of the cause of suffering, samudaya, suffering is caused by craving, clinging, and ignorance. The truth of the cessation of suffering, nirodha, there is a state beyond suffering, nirvana. The truth of the path, magga, the Eightfold Path leads to the end of suffering. The Noble Eightfold Path is divided into three core areas. Wisdom, panna, right view, right intention. Ethical conduct, sila, right speech, right action, right livelihood. Mental discipline, samadhi, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. This path is not linear but interdependent, and practicing all 8 components together helps purify the mind, develop insight, and cultivate compassion. The stages of enlightenment in Theravada Buddhism. Theravada Buddhism, dominant in Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia, presents enlightenment as a progressive process with 4 distinct stages of awakening. These stages reflect increasing levels of insight and purification from defilements, kilesas. Sotapanna, stream enterer, has destroyed the first 3 fetters: belief in a permanent self, doubt in the teachings, and clinging to rituals. A stream enterer is assured of enlightenment within 7 lifetimes. Sakadagami, once returner, has weakened sensual desire and ill will and will be reborn only once more in the human world. Anagami, non-returner, has eradicated sensual desire and ill will and will not return to the human realm, being reborn in a higher realm until achieving full enlightenment. Arahant, has eliminated all 10 fetters, including pride, restlessness, and ignorance. An Arahant is fully enlightened and will not be reborn. The Arahant is the ideal figure in Theravada Buddhism, one who has attained personal liberation through insight and ethical discipline. The Bodhisattva ideal in Mahayana Buddhism. In contrast to Theravada's Arahant ideal, Mahayana Buddhism, prevalent in East Asia, upholds the Bodhisattva, a being who seeks enlightenment not only for themselves but for the benefit of all sentient beings. A Bodhisattva cultivates bodhicitta, the altruistic intention to attain Buddhahood for the welfare of others. Mahayana scriptures emphasize that enlightenment is not separate from the world but realized within it. They introduce profound doctrines such as Sunyata, emptiness, all phenomena are empty of inherent existence, they arise dependently. Tathagatagarbha, Buddha nature, all beings possess the potential for enlightenment within them. For Mahayana Buddhists, the ultimate goal is full Buddhahood, not just personal liberation, but the complete realization of wisdom and compassion for the sake of others. Sudden versus gradual enlightenment, Zen and Chan Buddhism. Zen, Japan, and its Chinese predecessor Chan emphasize meditation, zazen, and direct experience over doctrinal study. Enlightenment, called Satori or Kensho, is often portrayed as sudden, a flash of insight into the nature of reality. Zen challenges conventional thinking through koans, paradoxical riddles that disrupt logical reasoning. Zazen, seated meditation that allows awareness to deepen without conceptual filters. Though Zen highlights sudden awakening, it also acknowledges the need for lifelong practice to stabilize and integrate enlightenment into daily life. The renowned Zen master Dogen encapsulated this with the phrase, "Practice is enlightenment." For Zen, enlightenment is not an endpoint but an ever-unfolding realization of presence and awareness. Tibetan Buddhism and Vajrayana practices. Tibetan Buddhism integrates Mahayana philosophy with Vajrayana, tantric, methods. It includes elaborate rituals, visualization, mantra recitation, and yogic practices designed to accelerate the path to enlightenment. Key elements include deity yoga, visualizing oneself as a Buddha to awaken innate qualities. Guru yoga, devotional practice to internalize the teacher's enlightened qualities. Mahamudra and Sokchen, advanced meditation systems emphasizing the natural, luminous mind. Vajrayana holds that enlightenment can be achieved in one lifetime through proper initiation and diligent practice, though it requires deep commitment and guidance from qualified teachers. The psychological and ethical aspects of enlightenment. Enlightenment is not merely a mystical state but involves profound psychological transformation. The enlightened mind is free from ego, no longer clings to a sense of separate self. Compassionate, spontaneously responds to suffering with kindness. Wise, sees through illusions and understands the interdependent nature of all things. Ethically pure, acts with integrity, honesty, and non-harm. The Buddhist precepts, such as non-killing, truthfulness, and generosity, are not arbitrary rules but reflections of the awakened heart. Ethical living supports inner clarity, which in turn supports meditative insight. Common misconceptions about enlightenment. Modern portrayals of enlightenment often distort its meaning. Some misconceptions include: it's a mystical trance. In reality, enlightenment is clear, wakeful awareness. It ends all emotions. Enlightened beings still feel emotions but are not enslaved by them. It's only for monks. The Buddha taught that lay people could also attain awakening. It's a passive state. Enlightenment leads to compassionate action, not withdrawal. Understanding what enlightenment is, and what it is not, is crucial for authentic spiritual growth. The relevance of enlightenment today. In today's world of consumerism, stress, and ecological crisis, the Buddhist ideal of enlightenment offers a radically different way of being. It teaches that peace and contentment do not come from external acquisitions but from inner freedom. Mindfulness practices rooted in Buddhism are now used in psychology to treat anxiety, depression, and trauma. While often secularized, they retain the core insight that awareness transforms suffering. Enlightenment remains relevant because it addresses the human condition, our longing for meaning, connection, and liberation from fear and ignorance. Is enlightenment attainable? Many wonder if enlightenment is truly attainable in this life. Traditional texts suggest it may take many lifetimes, yet the Buddha and many of his disciples achieved it through dedicated effort. Modern teachers, such as Thich Nhat Hanh, the Dalai Lama, Jack Kornfield, and others, affirm that while full enlightenment is rare, meaningful awakening is possible for anyone sincerely practicing the path. Enlightenment is not a finish line but a profound shift in understanding, accessible in moments of deep insight, compassion, and presence. Even partial glimpses can transform one's life. So, enlightenment in Buddhism is the heart of the spiritual path, a realization that ends suffering, reveals ultimate truth, and awakens boundless compassion. It is the culmination of wisdom, ethics, and meditation, as demonstrated by the Buddha and countless others who followed in his footsteps. Though described differently across traditions, Theravada's Arahant, Mahayana's Bodhisattva, Zen's Satori, or Vajrayana's luminous mind, the core insight remains the same: liberation is possible. The world as we know it, with its suffering and impermanence, is not the full story. Beneath the surface lies a deeper reality, waiting to be discovered. In our chaotic modern lives, the path to enlightenment offers not escape but engagement, with mindfulness, love, and clarity. It is an invitation to wake up, to live authentically, and to contribute to the well-being of all beings. Ultimately, enlightenment is not something we acquire, it is what we are, once the veils of ignorance are removed.